now, the For Pete's Sake podcast, hosted by Rob Blackman and Joey Mulinaro.
And welcome, everyone, to this edition of For Pete's Sake, the official podcast of Purdue Athletics. We are so happy to have you joining us on this particular episode. It is episode number 11. We are Rob Blackman and the guy to my immediate right, Joey Mulinaro, and we are so happy that you've made us a part of your listening and or viewing experience. We have incredibly big news to start the program today, but first, I'll bury the lead for the moment. Our special guest today, head football coach Barry Odum, head basketball coach Matt Painter. Why not? We'll talk a little transfer portal signing and high school football signings from a recruiting standpoint with Coach Odom. We'll look ahead to spring practice, what that might look like for our football Boilermakers. And we'll talk with Coach Painter as Purdue basketball, as you know, is about to embark on a very important 5-game stretch here, starting with a game at Nebraska, then at Iowa, and then 3 at home with Michigan, Indiana, Michigan State. But while those things are important, nothing is more important, Joseph, than the fact that we have become so popular that we have brought on a brand new sponsor to the For Pete's Sake podcast. Now, it's already brought to you by Tom Wood Automotive Group, but we've also added a new sponsor to our group of folks that we like to promote.
Absolutely. We have very excited about Home Field. You know them, you love them. Home Field apparel. I wear their stuff all the time. I'm wearing it currently. Hat, jacket, both merchandise items from Home Field. I've catching you up on it. It's amazing stuff. Vintage apparel. Just beautiful Boilermaker apparel that you need to get your hands on. Rockin' Mackey, rockin' Ross-Ade, rockin' Holloway, wherever you're going. And we're super pumped to have them on. A lot of comments that come for our show online for that I've been told is, hey, where's Joey getting that stuff?
Yeah.
Where did that come from that Joey got? Most of the time, it is from Home Field. So very, very excited to have them on. And thank you to all the folks over there, Josh, Connor, Whitney, great crew over there. Love working with them and so pumped to have them.
Home Field apparel. And to back up what Joey is saying, often when the cameras are turned off on this program, I myself will ask Joey, hey, that's really cool, man. Where'd you get that? And so now we all know Home Field apparel. Thank you, Home Field, for coming on board as one of our lead sponsors here on For Pete's Sake, the official podcast of Purdue Athletics. All right, another topic I'd like to hit on before we move the show full speed ahead, the fact that you had a very exciting week this past week, partner. We are taping this episode of For Pete's Sake the Monday following the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 60. Joey Mulinaro, my broadcast partner, spent basically the entire week in San Francisco soaking in Super Bowl 60 festivities. That had to be an awesome week.
Yeah, way more exciting than the game. Was not a very high bar to be able to cross there, as we saw. But yeah, so it felt like a week, but I really was only there for 2.5 days or so. Really, in my line of business, Rob, with the mix of entertainment, sports media, the Super Bowl really becomes just the biggest convention of the year for anybody in that realm. So I went last year in New Orleans. I said I got to go back this year. Did a deal. Was at the Madden Bowl on Friday night. So was able to have like a real partnership to go down there and do that with EA Sports on Friday night. But then it was just meeting people down at Radio Row and everything, doing interviews. Again, you're bumping shoulders, right? You're schmoozing and boozing, really, is what I say at something like that, right? So was absolutely insane. Got to take my buddy out there with me, who's a videographer, and he was doing work with me while we were capturing content. But yeah, it's just you're never. You always think that like it's not going to be topped, right? You think that like an experience you have there is not going to be topped. Somebody that you saw, and then you'll just turn your shoulder, and it'll be somebody else that you're like, what in the heck is going on, right? So for example,
so can I stop you there?
Yeah.
Biggest celebrity you rubbed shoulders with this past week in San Fran would be whom?
That I actually converse with and talk to probably would be Jason Kelsey.
Cool.
The biggest one I would say that is most known is probably Tyra Banks.
Oh, yes.
So let me set the scene. Me and my buddy are entering in the back section for the FanDuel party on Friday night, right? And so we go down there and we're waiting, and they want me to walk the blue carpet. It's fine, I'll walk the blue carpet.
Cool.
I'll do all that. And we're waiting backstage. They're like, yeah, just hold on just a second. We're going to hold you. We got some other people who are going to go before you.
Okay.
Turn, right over my right shoulder, Tyra Banks walks past. She goes and walks the blue carpet. Wow, Tyra Banks. Then all of a sudden, my buddy goes, "Bro, look behind you." And out of the wall, seemingly, the hidden door opens. Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, just walks out and walks right by. It's like, wow, okay. So what, Tyra Banks, Gavin Newsom, then me. Didn't talk to any of them. Right? But then afterwards, we left. We went to an after party, this little dive bar. My buddy Teddy Karras, local kid who went to Cathedral, he was bartending with Jason Kelsey. So we go to this dive bar, and Jason Kelsey walks by, and I said, "Hey, man, just want to introduce myself." And he was great. He loved my Mahomes impression. He told me that. And so we got to chit-chat and everything and took a photo. So really the highlight of all that stuff that came from the week, potential business partners, great deals, whatnot. My wife was most excited about that there's maybe a 18% chance that Taylor Swift knows who I am. Maybe.
That's
through
pretty
that
good.
grapevine, right?
18% is pretty good, though.
Well, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a whirlwind of 2.5 days. Definitely glad to be back, but just super lucky to be able to experience that kind of stuff for sure.
Well, Joey's being a little humble here, fans. The way it was explained to me during that blue carpet event that he's recapping, when Tyra Banks walked out, a number of folks in the crowd were shouting, "Hey, that's Tyra Banks." When Gavin Newsom walked out, a number of folks, "Hey, there's the governor of California, Gavin Newsom." When my broadcast partner walked out, from what I understand, a number of folks were yelling, "Hey, that's one of the co-hosts of For Pete's Sake, the official podcast of Purdue Athletics."
And, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, because we added another sponsor, so they just keep jumping on board. And I was like, I know, guys, you can catch us in West Lafayette. It's a big deal, but that is true. Yeah, that was happening.
Told you. This is For Pete's Sake, the official podcast of Purdue Athletics. It is brought to you by the Tom Wood Group. When we come back, it's time for the Lafayette Liftoff segment. And don't forget, still to come, head football coach Barry Odum and head basketball coach Matt Painter. Stay with us. For Pete's Sake, the official podcast of Purdue Athletics, brought to you by the Tom Wood Group. So many things to talk about today. As we mentioned a moment ago, we'll be visiting with head coach Barry Odum from Purdue football and head coach Matt Painter from Purdue men's basketball before this show is finished. But for now, it's time for our Lafayette Limo Liftoff segment. Lafayette Limo, family-owned, women-owned, serving Greater Lafayette for over 38 years. Shuttles to and from Indianapolis and O'Hare airports, 365 days a year. Make your reservations now at LafayetteLimo.com. Lafayette Limo, proud sponsor of Purdue Athletics. Joey Mulinaro, let's start with this. You spent all of last week hanging out in San Francisco, rubbing elbows with some of the greats from the National Football League, including one who's about to be inducted as an all-time great, Drew Brees.
Yes, I was on the search for Drew out there. Unfortunately, didn't get to bump elbows with him officially, but that's not the matter here. The matter is that he is a first ballot Hall of Famer. In case you missed that, he's going into the 2026 NFL Class of 26 Pro Football Hall of Fame. That'll happen in August in Canton, Ohio, of course. First ballot Hall of Famer, becomes the 5th Boilermaker to be enshrined in the Hall of Fame. Of course, you got Len Dawson, Bob Greasy, Hank Stram, Rod Woodson. Just a few highlights from Drew Brees' career, among the many. 5 NFL records throughout completion, 7,142. He had 5 5,000-yard passing seasons, so that would be 25,000 yards just from those. Consecutive games with a touchdown pass, 54. Most touchdown passes in a game, 7. And the highest single-season completion percentage, 74.4%. Drew Brees, of course, with the big news, asked about his journey and, of course, his love for his alma mater.
Drew Brees from West Lafayette to Canton.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I mean, there's so much water under the bridge. I guess it's all coming at you in waves right now.
You know what? We were reminiscing a lot here, about my NFL, days with both the Chargers and the Saints. But I tell you what, I carry so many people from Purdue with me here. Joe Tiller being one. Greg Olson, Tim Lopano, all the guys, Jim Chaney, all the guys who came down to recruit me out of the state of Texas where I didn't want to leave. And then ended up at Purdue University where they said, hey, you're going to get a great education, you're going to be part of the cradle of quarterbacks, and we're going to let you throw 50 times a game. I was like, all right, that sounds pretty good to me. So I carry so many incredible memories, so many incredible friendships from my Purdue days. I'm black and gold through and through. And I love my alma mater. I love Purdue, and it really paved the way for so many opportunities for me, and certainly this opportunity to be going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
And we love you too, Drew. So big congrats to Drew Brees, the Boilermaker legend, and can't wait to see that speech in Canton, Ohio, coming up in August. How about some wrestling? Joey Blaze, friend of the show. This kid is on a tear, Rob. Back in the lineup, healthy. He is lighting it up. How about that? I like that. Blaze, lighting it up. That's good. Thanks, Patrick. Currently ranked 4th at 165 pounds. He just defeated the 8th-ranked Illinois wrestler Braden Scholes in a 3-0 shutout. And what Corey Palm was telling us is he hasn't even been knocked down.
Yeah, no takedowns.
No
for Joey
takedowns.
Blaze. Nothing.
Just Blaze, just running through it, right?
Stud.
Potential matchup coming up with 3rd-ranked Mikey Caliendo, the Paisan there of Iowa, and Sunday coming up February 15th. That's Senior Day. Senior Day match for the Boilers at Holloway. 1 p.m. start there coming up this Sunday, February 15th.
Let's talk spring sports, shall we?
Let's do it.
It certainly feels like spring outside with
there.
a foot of snow on the ground. But softball already off and running. Now, they were in Las Vegas to start the season this past weekend, but a good start to the season. Softball Boilermakers start the season 4-1. They beat Cal Baptist twice. They split a doubleheader with UIC, and then they beat UNLV. Offense seems to not be a problem for our softball team. They are averaging 9 runs per game through the first weekend of the season. Purdue baseball, well, they will open up the season this coming weekend. They, too, will find a warmer locale. They'll be down in Sugar Land, Texas. 4 games against Portland to start the season. 1 on Friday, doubleheader Saturday, 1 on Sunday. Some names to watch for, guys from last year who were really good in the middle of the order. They should be good again this year. C.J. Richmond and Aaron Manez. And then Cole Van Assen is a returning weekend starter for the Boilermakers in the starting pitching rotation. So just some names you probably need to familiarize yourself with for the upcoming baseball Boilermakers.
Fantastic, and not to be discredited or forget, but we got some big ones coming up at Mackey for the men's basketball team. They're at Iowa on Valentine's Day, all right? So finishing up on the road at Iowa there, but then they come back to Mackey, and within the next week and a half, you have Michigan on the 17th, IU on a Friday night on the 20th, and then Michigan State the following Thursday. So we're in the thick of it, Rob, and we're going to have Coach Painter on to talk about just that, kind of the gauntlet that his team is facing coming up. But feeling strong, feeling confident with the leadership and the group that they have that they're going to be able to find some great success through this run here.
Ooh, what a run it could be if the Boilermakers get hot at the right time of the year. One quick note I did fail to mention, I apologize. Our men's golf team, speaking of spring sports, are also off and running. They're in Puerto Rico. Again, warmer locale. Big opportunity for them. They're playing down there. They're 37th in the country to start the spring season, our Boilermakers. And one final note that's just popped into my head. For those that might want to go see Drew Brees inducted into the Hall of Fame in Canton in August. If you are a John Purdue Club member, it is my understanding the JPC is actually putting together a travel package for that event. So you might want to call out, reach out to your representative for the JPC and be a part of we hope will be a huge group of Boilermakers that travel to Canton and are there to help celebrate when Drew Brees does go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
I just got a great idea.
Okay, talk to me.
We take the summer off here on For Pete's Sake.
That's a great idea. I love taking the summers off. That's my favorite part of my job, actually.
Me and Rob will play a bunch of golf over the summer, okay? That's also part of the idea. But then, to start season 2 of For Pete's Sake podcast, we do a live show from Canton with Drew Brees as our first guest in the Hall of Fame.
Do you think we can make that happen?
I'm just putting it out there. I mean, we've got John Purdue Club going. I mean, there's going to be a whole bunch of representatives out there. We could probably have a great amount of people who want to come see it. If we could get 15 minutes of Drew's time on one of the biggest weekends of his life. We start this season 2 with Drew Brees.
I am so excited
Is
right
this good,
now.
right? I mean, this is making sense.
This is a great
it's
idea.
Checking out. I got the executive producer nod going.
Okay.
All right.
By the way, we told you earlier, we just brought on a brand new sponsor, Home Field Apparel. Maybe you're thinking to yourself, you know what? I own a business. I'm part of a marketing group. I could help maybe sponsor Rob and Joey going to Canton in August. Just something to think about. Just something to think about.
Perfect.
Again, my favorite part of this plan is taking the summer off. When we come back, let's talk football. Maybe we'll mention Drew Brees, but we're definitely going to mention head coach Barry Odum and the current crop of Purdue football Boilermakers. As Purdue football spring practices coming up quickly, the off-season workouts, they have already begun, and Coach Barry Odum is looking forward to season number 2. We'll talk to the head ball coach next. This is the For Pete's Sake, the official podcast of Purdue Athletics, and is brought to you by the Tom Wood Automotive Group. All right, welcome back, everyone. Episode number 11, For Pete's Sake, the official podcast of Purdue Athletics. And as promised, time to talk to head football coach Barry Odum. He is our big interview segment. Your Central Indiana Ford dealers are proud sponsors of Purdue Athletics. They sponsor the big interview segment. Visit your local Central Indiana Ford dealer today. Coach Odum, we have a lot of questions about Purdue football for you, but first, the most important question of all, considering it's the Monday following the Super Bowl, did you have a rooting interest in last night's Super Bowl? I ask because I can only assume you probably coached some guys or worked with in the coaching business some guys that were involved for either side in that game last night.
It was something that going into the game, I kind of wanted both of those teams to play each other because I had 3 guys that I coached with the Seahawks, had 2 with the Patriots. So It was a little bit divided, but a little more leaning towards the Seahawks.
Gotcha.
So was excited. What a great game. And some say it was boring and awful, but I thought it was awesome. Yeah, great game.
For sure. How's the offseason going for you so far? What's it looking like for our Boiler football squad?
So I'm really in a position that I think we've improved in every area, which needed to be, but athletically, physically, and then most importantly in my belief is the connective piece of our team on what a great teammate you can be, how you're pushing each other, being a great leader, all of those things that really will galvanize this team together. I think we've made tremendous progress. We're going into week 5 of our off-season conditioning program, and I think when we start spring practice here in 3 weeks, we'll see a much bigger, physically stronger, faster, quicker, more explosive team, and one that cares about Purdue. And I'm excited about those parts that are leading us into the 26th season.
30-plus new guys, portal additions for the upcoming version of the Boilermakers. We can't talk about all of them, but I do want to talk about a couple that seem to have made the biggest splash, at least headlines-wise. One on the offensive side of the football and running back Jerry Gibson, the transfer from Texas, and one on the defensive side of the ball in the defensive secondary, John Slaughter from Colorado. What do those 2 guys bring?
Yeah, I think you look at Jarek, and he's played. He's a big physical back. He's got good speed. I think great vision on what we've seen. You know, one of the fun parts this year in this class with the portal window only being 1 this season, we know who our team is going to be,
right,
and that's exciting for me. So every person of the 32 that we signed from a portal transfer, we recruited them, or somebody on our staff recruited them beforehand. So we had a pre-existing relationship. So we're excited about, obviously we've got a void in the running back room. So we brought in 3 guys there that we feel really strongly about, and Jarek's done a nice job since he got started. Between 215, 220, and his explosiveness right now in the weight room is showing up. So I know that we've got a chance with the additions we've made up front that I think he can be a big part of what we're going to do on offense.
So to follow up on that, and look, you've spoken to this numerous times, but I'd love to have you on the podcast. The fact that the spring portal window has now been eliminated, it has to make your life so much easier as a coach, right? You're not going to coach up, 20 guys in spring ball, and then as soon as the spring game's over, they roll on you, right? This is your team now.
It's our team, and we get a chance to, from a relationship standpoint, develop them physically, and then I think there's more investment for these guys wanting to represent Purdue because they've been here. They get a more feel for what the place is. And that's big for myself and our staff. Last year, after spring practice was over, we signed 46 new players.
Right.
So you really didn't get them. I had some during the summer, but then when August started. So we're in a much better spot right now because we have our team here. We know who they're going to be, and we can develop them, which I think is a huge part of what this program's going to be.
Coach, in your last 2 head coaching stops, Missouri, year 1, 4-8, year 2, up to 7-6 as a win total. 2023 UNLV 9-5, improved in the second season to 10-3. What is it about that year 2 jump for you that seemingly you've been able to master so well, and how's it being implemented for year 2 for the Boilers?
Well, I think you look at, again, some of the development of the program, familiarity with the staff and the organization on what every single day looks like. I think we're flowing right now much better than we did at any point last year. Not making excuses for any of those things. We have to own what we didn't get accomplished last year, and I understand that, but also the ability to be vulnerable and look at what did we do well, what did we not do well, and let's go fix those things and get our team where we need to be. So I think, I'm always going to be forward-looking and thinking, and I'm not too proud enough to admit if we did something in it and it didn't, for whatever reason, align with success, and let's change those things. Let's get it fixed and find a way to build this team into a winning team, and I think we're on the fast track to get that done.
You've made some changes, too, in the coaching staff. I want to start with defensive coordinator Kevin Kane. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but that was maybe not a real popular choice with Purdue fans because his last stint here at Purdue, obviously defensively, didn't go well. But you have great confidence in Coach Kane. I've heard you speak on this numerous times. Yep. The reason for that is what?
Well, I think, number one, he's a great man, number one. He can develop young men into being leaders. He has a great football mindset and IQ defensively on what it wants and needs to look like structurally, and then the components that it takes to play good defensive ball. I visited with Coach Kane a number of times over the years, over the last 20 years, and the things and the work that he did at SMU, the things that I saw, and we clinic together when he was either at Wisconsin or Illinois. I know what Kevin can do given the opportunity. And I know he's excited to put his mark on Purdue football and our defense. I think also you look at collectively on that side of the ball, it's all of our responsibility, starting with me for us to play better defense. So Kevin's going to do a great job, has done a great job, and was so important to keeping some key members on our roster that maybe we're going to leave in the offseason. And the relationship that he had with those guys was able to help the transition of some of those things happen. And I'm excited about what we're going to do on defense. I know he's excited about proving who he's going to be and what that's going to look like. There's a sense of hunger. There's a sense of on a mission on what he wants to get done. And I can't wait to watch our defense go play.
Rob mentioned Jarrett Gibson, John Slaughter, who are possibly some other newcomers that Boilermaker fans should get used to hearing and seeing in the fall.
Yeah, I'm really excited about really every addition at this point. Excited about getting into spring practice to see, we made some additions up front with the offensive line. Boaz Stanley from South Carolina has played a lot of football. And I know some of those guys maybe don't get mentioned as much. Kurt Neal on the defensive line, transferred in from Illinois, has played a lot of games, played a lot of snaps. We saw him up close last year in our game versus them. So those are two guys just up front that I think, again, this conference, as talented and as deep as it is, the success is built on the line of scrimmage, both offense and defensive side. And I think we've upgraded in a lot of ways in both of those units, and excited about to see their development here over the spring practices.
I think you're also pretty excited about Zach Crabtree, right, the new offensive line coach, and what he might bring to the table.
Yeah, he and Coach Henson worked together, at a couple of different spots, and just to sit in the offensive room and listen to Coach Crab and Coach Henson talk, and the way that it flows together, there's alignment there. There's an understanding of what we need those position groups to play with. And he's done a great job on learning the terminology and then teaching our offensive line so far through 5 weeks. We've had some position meetings, and I think that group's excited to be able to play for him.
Coach, I don't know if you saw, I'm sure you did because you're talking about all the Super Bowl festivities, but over the weekend Drew Brees got the knock to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. What, if any, is the level of involvement of Drew Brees with Purdue football? Do you talk to him at all? And
What an amazing, the highest of honors you could achieve, and for Drew to get that, and I texted him, obviously congratulations, but he earned that. They don't just hand those things out lightly. So one of the greatest of all times. But every time that I've reached out to Drew, immediately he has responded. and say he will help in any way that he can. Purdue means so much to me. He has taught me a lot about the history of this place. We were able to go to D.C. Here recently, and he received another award through the NCAA, and got to connect with him that evening for a little while. But the standard of what it takes to be a great player, not only on and off the field, but now how important he has been for me to be able to blend some groups together with former players, but also connective piece that he has been, how important he is to all Boilermakers. I'm certainly excited about the opportunity and what he has created for us.
Speaking of quarterbacks, 32 new faces you mentioned through the transfer portal. According to one transfer portal ranking service, fourth best in the Big Ten. But one position you did not look for was quarterback, which tells me you have a ton of faith in Ryan Brown as your returning starting QB.
I certainly do. And as strong as I can validate it, Ryan Brown is a winner. He's going to prove that he is a winner. Our team's going to follow him, and the progress that he's going to make from, I'm calling it year one for him, to year two, we're going to see a big jump. And he's hungry to go prove himself right. I also think it's important that you surround him with 10 other players that can go make plays, right, and do the things they need to play good ball too to make his job easier. He's got the skills, he's got the arm talent, he's got the strength, he's got the football IQ, he's got the leadership qualities and the toughness that we're going to win with him as our quarterback in the Big Ten.
Coach, last one from me. We talked a lot about the transfer portal, but also signed 20 kids coming out of high school, right? That recruiting class. Just what are your overall thoughts about them, and also kind of the balance of not only recruiting the transfer portal, but then, oh yeah, by the way, we still got to bring in these young guys coming out of high school.
So we've got 18 of that class that enrolled with us in January. So they're here going through winter conditioning, spring ball. So you look at, and I'm going to start with the offensive line group that we signed in that class, 4 guys that I think no matter where I've been or where every single year, if we could sign 4 offensive linemen like we just did in the high school class, that's winning football. So I think we hit on a number of, we're going to continue to be a high school recruiting program. I think the number needs to be anywhere from 20 to 25 a year, depending on your numbers, and we've hit that. Excited about the development of who they are, and I think we've got some playmakers in there, not to put pressure on that group, but I think they're going to help us in their first year here at Purdue. So, it's our job now. We take the age off of it, and we don't put any limitations on. We coach them, get them ready to go play winning football. And I think we'll see some freshmen sprinkled in. I go, on the linebacker side, Braden Sweeney has shown some great glimpses so far through, the early part of what this offseason looks like, that a guy that's big and strong and can run. He's got some strong characteristics that I think we'll see early.
2 final questions with me, Coach Odom. Number one, really for our fans, a spring game? Any thoughts about if there'll be a spring game this year, or more of a scrimmage? Or have you thought that far ahead?
This continual conversation with that. A lot of it will depend on the health of our roster. Can we really put together a spring game that needs to look like as a game, or does it need to be more of a practice structure?
Sure.
We'll have that decision made sooner than later. Obviously, need to. Regardless, whatever that will look like, we'll open up the gates and would love to have as many people in the stands as we can that day. That'll be fun for them to see a new Purdue team, and I want to be able to put that on display.
All right, final question. When you joined us regularly through the football season this past year, I tried to always ask you about your 3 pillars for Purdue football: hard, smart, tough. As you've now had a chance to hopefully take a deep breath, review those 12 games Purdue played last year, if you had to give, I don't know if a letter grade's the right way to phrase this, but maybe it is, letter grades for hard, smart, tough in year 1, how did you feel your team stacked up?
Yeah, we didn't get anywhere close, coaching or on the field as far as execution. So the drive to get there, that's the pursuit of playing the game the way it's supposed to be played. And if we can do that, when we get that accomplished here, we're going to win a lot of games. And my belief, not in an arrogant way, but very, very confident, that's going to happen this season. And our team is being built the right way. They've responded the right way. And I've had more fun coaching this group in the last 5 weeks than I have in a long time because a number of those things are starting to show to be true.
Dang it.
Let's go.
I'm
I
excited
know.
for football
Strap
season.
it up. Come on.
It's only February. Can we just play a game next week? Coach Odom, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck with spring practices and as you continue to build this program, and we'll try to visit with you again sometime soon here on the podcast.
Appreciate it,
Okay,
Coach.
thanks, guys.
Well, let's talk basketball on our next segment. What do you say? Purdue head coach Matt Painter, that's head basketball coach Matt Painter, joins us next on For Pete's Sake, the official podcast of Purdue Athletics. All right, welcome back, everyone. For Pete's Sake, the official podcast of Purdue Athletics. I'm Rob Blackman. He's Joey Mulinaro. Big thanks to Coach Barry Odum joining us in our last segment to talk all things Purdue football. Now we talk Purdue basketball with men's head basketball coach Matt Painter. His segment of our program is brought to you by our brand new sponsor who has just come on board, Home Field.
That's right. It is the Home Field Spotlight presented by your favorite premium collegiate apparel brand. Home Field has all of your incredibly comfortable, officially licensed, vintage-inspired Boilermaker gear. Show off your Purdue pride with Home Field.
And with that, here we go, Coach Painter. 8 games left in the regular season. Pretty open-ended question here, but what have you liked about your team? More importantly, what needs to get better if you want to really start improving at the right time of the season?
Yeah, I think you get into a lot of other things when you don't shoot the ball well, when you don't play well. We've played well offensively, and so if you look at our numbers, we have the third best or the third most efficient offense in the country, and sometimes, like, when you play well on that end, things are happening that, like, as just a common observer, that are okay, and they're not okay. Then when you don't play as well offensively like we did against Oregon and we have those turnovers, like when you look at, and you can magnify something in the Illinois game when it just gets right down to it, but when you look how well you play offensively, like that carried the water for us and kept us in the game. We didn't win the game, but that was able to do it. Now, when you're not able to rebound the basketball and they get an advantage there. So for me, I always really come back to the possession war. You know, like, how are you doing on the glass? How are you doing taking care of the basketball? Because more times than not, if you can have more rebounds and fewer turnovers, you're going to put yourself in a really good position. We got in a bad position the other night because we didn't get enough cracks at it against Oregon. You have those 14 turnovers, you out-rebound them, but just by a couple. There's got to be some domination there when you have a good team. You got to dominate them on the glass. You got to dominate them taking care of the basketball. And if you can't get one of those and you can hold serve and then you dominate, you're still putting yourself in a good spot. But when you have 14 turnovers, you only out-rebounded by a couple, like now things are going to get a little bit different. But it also, frustration looms in because I thought we did get some really good open looks. I think that happens to everybody naturally. You get a good looks, you miss a good shot, and then coaches are like, hey, don't worry about that. But you do worry about that because you're like, man, I get, especially for guys that come in, right? Like when you get Jakari that comes in, Omer that comes in, like all of a sudden, bang, like sometimes your opportunities are right away, and now you get open looks. And so, like, we didn't get any threes other night from Omer, Jakari, and CJ, but they all, I think they're 0 for 8 from 3 right there. But I thought 7 out of the 8 were really good shots, and those are shots that we're going to make. But those are also shots when you do make. Now you push the game out a little bit or whatever. But I liked what Oregon did. I thought they had to do that. They get Biddle back. We fouled Biddle 11 times. He's obviously a difference maker for him. He's an all-conference player for them. They use size. They played big. Memphis did that. USC did that. And it's kind of ironic is when we go back and watch the tape on all 3 games, we liked the shots we were getting, but we didn't make them. But yet we felt, oh man, like we're generating a good shot. In this game, we turned the ball over too much. So we, that was very counterproductive.
So you really, I mean, you can take away, even if people consider it, an ugly win against Oregon or whatever that means, but you can take away those positives of, okay, well, we're getting those good shots, we're getting those good looks.
Right.
Eventually they'll fall. So the scoreboard may not have looked that great, quote unquote, but you still feel good about it because of those looks.
Yeah, well, for us, I feel like we went into the game averaging 8 turnovers a game, which is fabulous in conference play. We're around 10 overall. So if we can navigate at 8 to 10, we feel really good about, generating a good shot. Yeah. Where you don't like it is that we felt like we had about 4 to 6 too many turnovers, and that can push the game and give us, if you have those possessions. But yeah, you look at it, from that. You also have to look at it from, we call it kill, three stops in a row. So we always want to get 3 kills a half. So we get 6 kills in the game. So, like, if you look at the number and what they scored, like, you can sit there and, like, we kept having discussions, like, on the bench, like, hey, do we need to stay one-on-one in the post here because we don't want to give up any threes? I'm like, well, they're not making threes. They were 5 for 25 from 3. Like, you got to live with, taking 25 shots, and they've scored 15 points off those 25 shots. Like, you're in a good spot. But what's going to get you there at the end when you're in a tough spot? Like, so we finished the game with 7 straight stops. Yeah. Fletcher makes a huge shot. Fletcher makes his free throws down the stretch. But the narrative of the game isn't that. But, like, when you get into those games, like, you lose those games a lot right there when you don't play well, or you don't shoot well, or you don't but you held you held them in the 60s, and you're still right there, and you close the game out defensively more than anything. And, like, you can build off of that because there's going to be other games that you're going to play, especially in the NCAA tournament. Like, you're not – if you can get 6 games, good for you. But, like, you're going to shoot 55% all 6 games? Like, I highly doubt it.
Yeah. Speaking of defense, and you mentioned to start this interview that adjusted offensive efficiency, pretty good, top 3 in the nation. Defensively, right around 25, 26?
Yeah, 26.
Can you get better in that category?
I'm going to have to rebound better. I think that's where you saw our numbers really spike early. Like, TK, Oscar, they were getting double-doubles on a regular basis. They were getting, if they weren't, they were getting double-digit rebounding. If not both of them, at least one of them. And we haven't seen as much as that. TK got 10 the other day against Maryland. We got to get back there. For our defense to be better, we got to do a better job of not letting them have second chance opportunities. That's where, in my opinion, it starts with. Now, each style is going to cause different issues for us, and when we get in there as a coaching staff, we got to be able to get some things figured out. It's a little more difficult for us because we start really 2 defensive 5s. And so when you get into ball screen defense, like now, like, you got to get that figured out. It's not what's best. It's what's best for your personnel and going against other people, and everyone causes different issues.
Are those minutes, the rotation is going to kind of fluctuate just by, based on the opponent and the tournament, perhaps, like you mentioned? Like, how does that work for you? Is it just kind of the hot hand, or? I
mean, if you look at, like, your major minute guys, like, they stay consistent. Like, a lot of times you'll get with a guy makes a shot and people will overdo that. And they'll say, well, you just made a shot. What'd you take him out for? And, like, you don't mean to, like hurt their feelings or do whatever. There's just more to the game than one shot. Like, there just is.
Yeah.
And so, like, you have to be able to, as a coach, like, stick with guys that have done it for you before versus going with someone that's maybe playing better in that game. Like, sometimes you got to stick with that guy who's playing better in that game. Like, we finished the game with Daniel Jacobson the other day. Like, we just felt like we were better while he's in the game. Sometimes as a coach, even though you're looking at a box score, you're looking at things and you're trying to gauge things throughout the course of the game. Sometimes you're just going to stay with somebody because you feel like, hey, man, he's playing well, he's giving us this energy, whatever it might be. And then, but someone's going to be out, right? Like, hey, what did I do wrong? Yeah. And at the end of the day, like, we just went with somebody else, and that's that. And that's the way it is. But there's times that person outplays that guy, come off the bench, and he outplays that guy, and I stick with that starter. And somebody goes, like he was playing better. Like, yeah, he's played 120 games here. He's just answered the bell a lot for us. And it's like Fletch other night. Like, we went to him, like, the guy fell down. I didn't even realize when I got interviewed kind of all the things that went with the play. And the guy just loses his balance because he tries to blow the screen up. And Fletch just catches it and gets that one rhythm dribble and gets that, like, but if you look at, like, through the years or whatever, like, he makes those shots. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? He makes those shots. And even if he had missed that one, you still got to feel good about that just because the numbers say so. Like the numbers say, but there's more to the game. Like when you look at like some of our bench guys, they'll come in, they'll play well. This is a really good story. It's probably better for fans to understand than anything trying to figure things out. But Omer gave up, in my eyes, 3 threes at Indiana. Okay? So that's in my head right there. He gets pulled pretty quick. All 3 situations were not on him. But during the game, I thought they were. We had one guy switch and go against our rules, and Omer got behind the play, hits a 3. Ball gets deflected. Omer's going to get a steal in the second half right in front of Indiana's bench. Goes to get it, just misses it, but it was just fair game. They throw it to his guy, hits a 3. Dorn, I'm yelling at him to get up, and during the game, I don't think he's up into him enough. And then Dorn hits another 3. I go back and watch the tape. The first 2 are self-explanatory. I just explained them. The third one, he's up. He shoots a step back and gets the separation, which we always tell him when that happens, don't go into him to contest. Be a high jumper so you don't get that, 3 free throws or, an and one and 4-point play right there. So, like, I just went to him and just said, like, you were a victim of circumstance. He probably looked at me like, what in the hell is being a victim of circumstance? So I explained it just like I explained it there. And I just said, like, hey, man, that stuck with me, and that's why you didn't play as much, going down the stretch and whatever. And I go, but that's on me. Like, after watching the tape, this is why I did it. This is what I saw live, but that wasn't the real deal. Like, I don't think if you don't humanize yourself with your players when you make mistakes, I don't think you have credibility. I know you don't have credibility.
But it's something to your point. The fans, they see those threes just like you, and then you think, what is Omer doing? They don't go back and watch the film like you.
Right.
So it is, tough.
Right. You'd be amazed of what you see, and then what you go back and see. Because the game doesn't allow you to see it all with a live eye. It doesn't allow you to see off the ball and see on the ball. You can't.
Yeah.
Like what happened? Like one of the best lines to ever ask an official. You find out who knows what they're doing and who by the core is just honest. Maybe that's a tough word, right? But because you ask questions. Hey, my bad. At 60 feet away from what happened there? And sometimes they'll say, hey, it's not mine. It wasn't mine. I didn't see it. I was away from it. And that's understandable. But you're like, when you get in question asking mode, instead of telling somebody, like, you missed this, you missed that, what the hell are you doing? Like, blah, 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 blah. Instead of saying, hey, what did you see there? You'd be amazed at all the good things that come from that, like the dialogue that comes from that. You got to have stoppage of play to be able to have a longer conversation. But like you'd be amazed at the guys that then freeze up and kind of look at you and like somebody who's just, I didn't have a good look at it. I might have missed that. Like, you're like, hey, man, that's a good dude. Like, we've had guys blow calls. Like, we've had guys just go to the monitor and just botch things. I mean, just botch things. Final 4 guys. You'll see them the next time and they'll be like, hey, man, my bad. My bad. We had a guy in one of our road games blow a goaltending call. And like, I don't have the stuff right there. Like, I can't go quick on it. And I'm watching it too. And I'm like, man, that's not a block.
Yeah.
That's not a goaltending, excuse me. And I'm like, but they called it a goaltending. He just came right to me and says, I blew it. I blew it, man.
Is he a victim of circumstance?
Ball wasn't on the. He was no. I was the victim.
You were the victim of circumstance?
I was the victim
Okay.
of circumstance because we end up losing
the
by
bag,
a
yeah.
possession,
Bad call.
and that's a possession. But we've had those things happen, and those guys come to me. Then you'll have those things happen, and they won't come to you, and they won't say anything. Like, they'll blow a major call or they'll do something, and they won't. And that to me is always like. Because I always feel better when I blow things or botch things, whether it's like, in your personal life or like whatever. You're just like, hey, just own it, right? You just own things. You're like, hey, man, I messed this up. Here's what I was thinking. I apologize. Then everybody's cool.
Yeah.
But when you don't get on those grounds or you don't like, and they can't, I'm not asking for like every single call if somebody like misses or whatever, but I'm just, game changers.
For sure.
Game changers or going to the monitor and seeing stuff. I don't know how they mess up going to the monitor. I don't know how they do it.
You're right there. Do you
Like,
have
I
any
just-
insight? Yeah.
But live play, when they mess things up live play, I totally know how they do it because I ref in practice and I botch it all myself. It's just like, it's just hard. It is a hard job. Bodies can be there where it blocks your vision. There's just so many things that people wouldn't think about that make it difficult. But if you let me watch it on replay 4 times, I'm pretty good. I think anybody should be pretty good.
rate.
Yeah.
Sure.
Speaking of replay, I wasn't planning on going down this rabbit hole, but and maybe it's just because Purdue hasn't had a lot of opportunities this year, but it doesn't feel like our team has asked for many reviews or challenges, right? Maybe
No.
1 or 2 the whole year?
You know, kind of coming from the school of thought is that you don't want to be stuck late in the game. You want to make sure you have a
without a
timeout.
timeout,
You want to make sure if you have a, and you're preparing and you're doing stuff, you don't want to hold a timeout and then it costs you and you never needed it either. So there's a couple different ways to look at it, but you want to make sure. We've had a couple where our guys should have been more adamant to me, and that's what I always tell them. Like, don't be emotional. Drop your ego. If something is obvious, hey, this went out on him or whatever. Things that you can, actually appeal. So like do it. But yeah, we haven't had a lot of these opportunities. But you also don't want to handcuff yourself and do things early in the game.
Yeah.
And then you don't have it at the end, or you don't have a timeout to use, and that's it. Sometimes it'll make you overthink about your timeouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 3-game skid the team went on. How was the kind of the steadiness of the ship there? Obviously, some senior leadership, but was there ever a time where it got a little murky, or were the guys able to resolve it amongst themselves and keep it steady throughout that?
Yeah, it's part of competition. Like we've had this, before. Everybody has it. Like you go through, losing streaks or 1 game, 2 game, 3 game. Like you want to cut it. You lose one, like get off of it. But with that being said, we lose 3 in a row. You're not gonna get to where you start talking about things you haven't talked about before. I think that's what gets kind of lost sometimes in translation. You're still, whether you win or you lose, you're still talking about the same things. You're still working on the execution of what you're doing offensively while not turning the basketball over. You're still working on angles of screens to get guys open, whatever it might be. We have a foundation of what we do defensively. Then we have differences in ball screens, differences in post D that we change from game to game. Sometimes stay the same, sometimes change. It just depends on what they're doing and what we feel is best for our team. So you don't get away from that. Like in a season, some things can bother guys, but it's more not collectively. It's more like individual. You have your peaks and your valleys.
Last thing from me, Coach Painter. Again, 8 games left in the regular season, then postseason play begins. The confidence level from you, from your coaching staff, knowing that you have Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, Trey Kaufman-Wren on your roster.
Right.
I mean, Braden is what? That's 1,700 points. He's closing in on the all-time NCAA assist record. Trey's closing in on 1,400 points. Fletcher, 1,500. I would think there's a sense of comfort that allows you to maybe sleep easy at night knowing, hey, those are 3 pretty good guys to take with me into this final stretch run here.
Yeah, and like what you just talked about, like the losing streak or like the things that you go through, they've been through it.
Right.
Like you gotta play like you've been through it. You gotta act like you've been through it. Like move to the next play. And that's what you want from your seniors. Like your ability to move and not overdo things when things are going your way and stay the course. Like you see it so many times. You get up 9, you get up 11, you get up 13, and then all of a sudden you play differently. It's human behavior type stuff. But the other team picked it up too because they're down. Right. So you see it in the NBA a lot. Some teams up 20. Well, this is over. Nope, lost by 7. Yeah. You 27-point swing. How can that happen? Got great players on both sides. That's how it can happen. You got a 24-second shot clock. You got a lot of possessions. You have to stay with it. College, not as much. You don't have as many players. Your clock is at 30. Like you don't have as many cracks at it, but it happens, and it's human behavior. But your ability to move to the next play, I always say, like when you do well, we're not going to have a parade, and when you do bad, we're not going to have a funeral.
Like that line.
Stay in that middle ground, keep competing, keep doing your job, but like make your hard work fun. Like stay with it. You're going to get into the grind of right now to where things are just unbelievably hard. Yep. You got to embrace how hard it is and have fun with it. And if you haven't been through it, that's really hard to really conceptualize.
It is the Home Field Spotlight segment brought to you from Home Field Apparel. And our special guest today, Coach Matt Painter. Coach, thanks. I know tough stretch coming here next couple of weeks, certainly, but good luck.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Thank you.
One more segment to go here on our For Pete's Sake, the official podcast of Purdue Athletics. It's brought to you by Tom Wood Automotive Group. We'll wrap it up when we come back. All right, everyone, time to close it out here on episode 11 of For Pete's Sake, the official podcast of Purdue Athletics. Again, it's always brought to you by Tom Wood Automotive Group. And again, just one more time, we want to say a huge thank you to our newest sponsor who has just come on board now and will be with us the rest of the season, Home Field Apparel. Joey Mulinaro, I did want to bring attention to a very important staff member that is with us here on the podcast that works behind the scenes. And I've been so angry with myself. We've gone 11 episodes, and I haven't mentioned him yet, but I am not making that mistake today. Will Cabral, who, if you look at this set behind us, and we get a ton of compliments of how cool our background is.
And it is.
Will Cabral, he built it. He's the guy that did all the hard work behind the scenes. When you see a lot of different social media shoots with Purdue athletes, and you look at the cool backgrounds, probably because, it was because Will Cabral went through the trouble to build those backgrounds. So, Will, may we give you a little ovation?
Yes,
because they get so many compliments on how cool this is.
Very
and I just want everyone to know who actually is responsible for putting all this together.
Echo. Yep. Ditto that. Thanks, Will. Appreciate you.
Yeah, hopefully you weren't thinking Joey and I had anything to do with this.
No.
All right, Joey, I like to wrap up each episode with, what did we learn today?
Learned a few things. I learned that Coach Odom obviously very excited about not only the portal class but the trenches in the high school recruiting class that he's brought in. Wanted to continue kind of echoing what Mike Babimski talked about with us on our last show.
Sure. Of
how Purdue is always going to be a high school recruiting, wanting to be able to build for that foundation rather than just transactional 1 year in, 1 year out. Some of the other transfers, though, going back to the portal, that we should be very excited about. It's a talented class, fourth in the Big Ten that's coming in, and we've seen that jump that Coach Odom has been able to make from year 1 to year 2 in his prior 2 stops at Mizzou, UNLV. So all signs are pointing to things turning around and looking on the up and up for our Boilermaker football team. Then with Coach Painter, I really love the line that he said, "We're not going to throw you a parade for some success, and we're not going to throw you a funeral for some failures."
Right.
Staying level, not too up, not too down. I truly am going to use that for my kids. That's a great line for parenting, I think. It's a great line for coaching. And we talked about it, obviously, with the 3-game skid that we had. Of course, sky is falling, everybody's panicking. But I think when you have someone like Coach Painter, when you have guys like Fletcher Lawyer, Braden Smith, TKR, that's a veteran-laden team. Those are guys who aren't going to have a funeral. They're not going to throw a parade. They're going to stay steady and hoping to continue to see that down the stretch here for the Boilermakers.
That was an awesome line.
What about yourself?
Well, again, I've said this before. I'm with Coach Painter a lot, so I'd heard that line before.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it
I
is a great
figured.
line.
Yeah.
Don't misunderstand me. One thing I really took away from visiting with Coach Odom is how dedicated he is, how confident he is in quarterback Ryan Brown.
Yeah.
And I've heard him speak on this a couple of times since the season has ended. But that's his guy. He is QB1. Again, no quarterback was brought in the transfer portal. This is his job, and this is his team. I'm speaking of Ryan Brown. And to me, what great confidence Ryan must have, knowing that his head coach has basically signed off and said, "You're our guy, and we're going to war with you."
Totally, and I think that gets looked over, especially in today's form and fashion in which college athletics and just social media and everything's minds, everybody's just so bam, bam, bam. Sometimes when you can go through some downs, that helps get you back up to the ups, right? And you don't have to worry about somebody peeking over your shoulder, some guy being brought in. It's like, yes, okay, ball didn't bounce your way, but like you mentioned, that confidence that that's his guy, he knows what he has in store, and I think it's big time. So I'm excited about Ryan Brown in year 2 as well.
Well, we're excited to have you join us for episode number 11, For Pete's Sake, the official podcast of Purdue Athletics, brought to you by Tom Wood Automotive Group. A big thank you to all the folks who do the heavy lifting for us. They include Patrick Crawford, our executive producer. Our producer of the show is Corey Palm. Brad Summer is our director. We already gave Will a shout out for all the work he does behind the scenes, and Rosie and Chris as well. They too do a ton of the heavy lifting behind the scenes that help make this program as successful as it is. Thank you for being a part of For Pete's Sake, the official podcast of Purdue Athletics.
Boiler up.